Hello everybody, welcome back to Let's Play Motorsport Manager. The Timmix here. This is once again the Daddy's Boy Challenge, 4th race, Munich, coming up. And we at Hammer AMR are in the lead. Orange GT 6 points behind, 7 points to Spartan MRT. Everybody else pretty much out of it. Now, truth in advertising here, full disclosure, whatever you want to call it. I did actually do this once already, and I then deleted the recording because I relearned something, which is do not do anything that requires you to think clearly when you're tired. I was running out of fuel during the race multiple times, just really made some terrible mistakes, finished much worse than I should have. It wouldn't have destroyed the season, necessarily. But I don't want to risk it. I would have definitely risked it if it was a career. You know, because once I get to career mode, it's just going to be whatever happens, happens. And if I do something stupid, I do something stupid. But the whole point of the challenge section is just sort of as a training ground for me. And getting the unlockables, of course, is cool too, but mostly make sure if I can pass the challenges, I should be okay in the career and, you know, just being completionist and all that stuff. Well, I mean, I didn't want to risk having to do an entire 12 episode challenge over again based on simply, one bout of stupidity. So that's where we are here. I was also looking at Bobby Stone, and what's interesting to me is his morale here. Rio de Janeiro really took a big hit. Sydney didn't take nearly as much of a hit, even though he finished worse in Sydney. And there's a couple possible explanations for it. One is his form. If we look at that here, you can see his form was much better in Sydney and it was bad in Rio. The other part is the qualifying, because he didn't even get to the last run of qualifying in the Rio event. So I'm not sure which of those is the biggest impact here, but that's going to be something to keep an eye on, because that's one of the two things that it really matters right now. Finances and Stone's morale. It looks like Gabler is going to dominate, and as long as she keeps doing that, we should be doing well in the points. But getting Stone's morale, keeping that from tanking too far, and then also having him hopefully start finishing at least once in a while in the lower end of the points, get us a couple points here and there. That's the key. So those are the two things that really could derail what looks like, that's a strong start for us. So heading over to mail, there's one thing here that we do have to check on. We've got an interview. You've had some time to get used to the team now. What are your main worries at the moment? And we can talk about the car's performance, upgrading the HQ, driver lineup is weak, but I take the PR, boy, things are going great, blah, 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 blah option. And that boosts the morale of both drivers by 5%, so that doesn't hurt at all. We've got, gearbox coming soon, and we've got to do our repairs after the race in Sydney. Okay, gearbox is finished. Let's take a look at where we're at on that. Now we've got to pick a second one here, and we don't want to get the risk level. We don't want to pay extra money. We don't want to use extra time, so we're just going to take that one. 850K. There we go. I always like to come in here just to get rid of that stupid notification. Okay. And now The cars are ready to go for Munich. Okay, so we can see the reliability stuff. Brakes are fine. Engines are fine. Gearboxes are fine. Of course, there's this new one, but we're not going to use that one yet. We're going to build up to better ones. So we definitely want to be hitting the reliability here. And then improving. Let's see. I don't really want to spend improvements on stuff that we're still going to develop any more than is necessary. So I definitely want to have the brakes in there, because that's, these are the parts that we're going to be sticking with. Okay, so go with that, and then I want to have just enough to finish off all my reliability work before the race. So I think that's where we need to be right now. And then we should start to get some more performance improvements out of these before the next race, which will only help us. Now we can see over here that, Spartan has a faster engine than we do now. Not by much, but a little bit. So the other teams, of course, still making improvements. But nobody's going to be able to touch us in the brakes. You can see, like, way down here is the average. I mean, we're crushing most of them in the brake category. It's Bobby's birthday. Should we get him a nice present? I hear he's pretty touchy about his birthday. What do you think? A card will do, just drops his morale by 10, as this decision normally does, or let's throw a big party. His morale goes up 10 and 100k. 100k is not that much. To me, it's worth it to keep him happy. So in this particular case, we're going to do a nod to the needs of, keeping everybody together on the team. And we've got our first sponsor in for this spot that we need to fill, but let's wait on that. Wait and see what happens. As always, checking up on the car every few days. 1 hour after the race, so not quite ready to move that down yet. And a new sponsor offer is in. Not too particularly concerned about that. There we go. I can now move it down to here. Add one more staff onto the performance. Certainly want to do that. And I think that's it for now. See where we're at on the HQ real quick. 6 weeks. We've got 10 days to Munich. GT Challenger circuit going there now. We don't really care what happens to them. Now 1 week to Munich, and they're going to talk about it now. 43 laps, just over 3 miles. Lap record's 136.4. The chance of rain is looking good. Brakes are important, and we've got the best ones around. If you look at it, it's brakes, gearbox, and suspension all really matter. So there's a lot of parts that are going to be... This is a track that's pretty hard on the car. Soft and medium. And that choice is going to be quite important. But basically, we're definitely going with the soft ones for a couple different reasons that I'll get into. Another sponsor offer for us to ignore for the moment. And the new gearbox is now finished. So let's take a look at that. Okay, now on this one, we only have up to the good level. We can't do great parts. So if we just, like, if we highlight these, we could eventually get up to a random legendary component, but to even do that, we would have to accept this, which is, you know, minus 10% reliability. It's going to hurt performance overall, because that's going to cause us to lose 60 in the weight stripping, so we'd actually be minus 20. You know, it's not worth going into here, so I think we're ready to build the first one we'd want to use. So plus 20 acceleration, definitely going to want that. Going to want the plus 2 days because it's going to give us better acceleration here. And then, is it worth spending another 100K and taking 2 more days to get this? No. Because we don't want that red zone boost. That's for sure. So there's really no reason to take that. We'll take this reliability hit. But that's all. That's all that we want. Or not reliability hit. Reliability hit. You know what? I'm going to go with the build time minus 1 instead. You know, it's just not worth the reliability there. So I think this is where we want to be. This is the part we want to use. 900K. And that takes up half of our money. And see when that's going to be finished. 14 days. It'll be well after this next race. And look at our suspension now. Our Atsuno's suspension is now significantly better than ours. But we aren't to that yet. We've chosen to focus elsewhere. And then back to the factory. Oh, stop. There we go. Keep that rolling. And we've got an important email now from Bobby Stone. Spotted a number of transactions coming out of the account, which I find concerning. If the spending pattern continues, you're likely to be very low on cash by the end of the season. Keep an eye on it. So, yeah, the financial situation definitely not looking superb. No, it's not what I want. I want to get over here. There we go. We can tweak this a little bit more towards the performance for this last little bit, but it is time to get our sponsor lined up and go to Munich. So we've got Nippon here, a 3-star sponsor. Won't offer us anything up front. Got bonus for 10th or above. We're going to want to go more aggressive than that. I just don't see any reason to take this. And then these two are exactly the same, which is interesting. 4 race deals. Just a question of which sponsor you want, and there's really nothing to choose between them. But 1 million payment up front is nice. We'll put that into effect. A special effect, the Gamer's Charity. I'm going with that over Football Manager. And there we go. Now, the amount of funding we're going to get in is going to be tough now, because these we aren't even going to see a new one ever. Those are sort of fixed payments ones. We'll see this one in a couple races, but it'll be a couple more after that that we can get these new bonus sponsors. So the financial side of things, definitely looking like it's going to struggle. And we're going to have to be really careful. We're not going to be able to just continue pumping out parts nonstop. Okay, so let's see what Munich has for us. It tells us that our reliability work is finished. Thank you very much. We probably will have everybody on. Yep, everybody's working on the performance side. I'm going to stick with El Banco, the medium risk reward thing here. First is just it's too high of a bar. I'm not going to be able to consistently hit that. We are pretty set. I'm just going to double check the parts. That never hurts. But, yeah. Slide down here. Yep, Stone's got all the best ones. We're where we want to be. So let's see about practice. See if we can set up well for a strong race in Munich. Hoping to extend our lead, or at least maintain our lead, in what is still the early going of the season. A lot of racing to do. We're in a good position, but it's by no means a thing where we're shoo-ins. The other teams are strong enough. They're working on their improvements on their vehicles. You see the suspension for Atsuno and the engines for Spartan that we've noticed. So we can't just assume, hey, we've got this. We've gotta have some attention to detail. Make sure we get the most we can out of every race. Don't give them opportunities. Whoops. Let's handle the weight stripping first, shall we? Now, one thing I've noticed is with the strategy I'm doing, which I really do think is the best with the ERS system, and that is, running low on fuel, not running aggressive engine modes, at least for Gabler, but running low on fuel, trying to be light around the track. That is reducing the amount of reliability that gets used up. It's reducing the wear and tear on the parts. So I want to do more weight stripping than usual. And I'm only going to up it by 5% on each part. So that's going to make our gap 55 to 65 here. And then I'm going to see how it looks at the end of this race. And if it looks, like if I get through a couple races and it looks like it's still going great, then I might add more to it. So 285. And so it's the same amount that I'm doing for Stone's car over here, but for different reasons. Stone has that ability to ignore the damage from engine mode being high. And he is running with high engine modes and not as much fuel. So that's a little bit of a different scenario. So yeah, 285 on both vehicles is where we're going to stand. And then, like I said, I really want to watch this closely over the next couple races, because I know this isn't too much, but I might be able to squeeze more out of them as we get further into the season. Okay, now for the setup. That should be in the right area, and weather. Never want to forget to check that. Okay, we're gonna have some, probably just enough that we're gonna want to have inters on for the first. It looks like maybe 5 minutes, and that's an important consideration. How long it's going to be, so we know what sort of stint to set up. That should be close. Intermediates for both cars. Okay, now for both of them now, I want to do the race trim 4 laps. Race trim being the priority, and then 4 laps because they're not going to have time to get any more than that under the current tires before it gets dry. There's no point in going the 8 laps of fuel like I did before. So we've got decent, fairly good for Gabler, and pretty good for Balcazar. So it looks like we should have a decent run here in practice. We'll see if it happens again. I'll be surprised if it doesn't, frankly. But when I did this before, I wasn't even able to get to anything but the race trim and the intermediates. I got those maxed out, but those are the only ones I was able to do. Just because of how the timing of everything worked out. You see some cars going out on softs or mediums, but most cars on the intermediates. And Gabler liking the handling, while Balcazar wants it stiffer. See if we can remember to have a stiffer, harder suspension for Balcazar. It's easy to forget, of course, which car wants what change. But they do tend to be more accurate in which direction they want things changed than you would be by just guessing. So, more weight in the front for Gabler. So we're going to be looking for more weight in the front on Gabler and the harder suspension for Balcazar. And so far, time's starting to come in. And I did not catch that last message by Balcazar, so that's unfortunate. Saw it was there just after it flashed off the screen. We have hit our first sort of level. The rain's going to stop soon, so I'm going to want to, yeah, we're going to want to come in. We're going to want to stick with the race trim, 4 laps. If we look at the time here, where's our weather? It's going to start raining in a few minutes, so we're not going to get a whole lot of dry weather driving, but we are going to get some. We'll switch over to the softs and then see what changes we can make here. So pretty good except for the cornering. And let's see, maybe about there. Probably want to have more acceleration about there. Something like that should be in the right general area. I'd like a bit more acceleration than that. Yeah, I want to try it over here. Just see what that reads. And same thing, of course, for Balcazar, staying on the same stint and going to soft tires, but only 71% here on the setup. So we're going to want to change quite a few things. They wanted a harder suspension, and yeah, probably going to want to go all the way there. Something like that, and then maybe... Boy, doesn't look like, well, I'm not going to be able to get it very far this way. So I'm just going to try, yeah, I'm going to try that. I'm going to try that. Let's see where we end up. We can see the track just finishing drying out as we come out. So that was definitely the right time to pit. And once it starts getting wet again, it looks like we're going to have to go inters for the rest of it. See a lot of cars still out on inters, even though it's dry, electing not to switch over. And this is one of those periods where if it was any smaller, it might be best just to stay out of them. It's going to totally dry out for a couple laps. Our time's going down. Gabler likes the cornering better, so that's a positive sign. And now it's starting to rain again. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to get around a full lap after this one, so we're just going to need to come in again here. Cornering good there as well. So it looks like we may not quite even get to the soft tires. Wow, that looks good. 89% up to 97, so we are almost there with Gabler. Stick with the race trim, switch back to inters. And let's see. That was great, and that was great. So in theory, I would expect the in-between right there. That might be all we need to do. And what's nice about this is it's a quick change, so we can get right back out on the track. And oh my, did we screw up the handling. Yeah, 59% on the second attempt. Eek. Stick with race trim there as well. Go back to inters. And it went from okay to great. So maybe a little bit lower speed. So we're going to want the handling to be up around there. We went the wrong direction. We want to be down here with the speed and up here with the handling. Okay. That's not the end of the world. Looks like I want all the weight at the front, though. And then we can close that up till about there. It's as far as I can push the acceleration. And that might be enough. It's definitely worth trying. Okay. And I'm going to want to bring in one of the cars as soon as we've got enough to have the other one get us to the race trim being finished. So I got to try to eyeball that. I don't think we're going to be able to get qualifying trim anyway, but we're going to want to try it. Okay, now do I want Gabler or Balcazar to come in now and finish it up with Gabler? Are we close enough? The thing is, I have to make sure we're close enough. 3 minutes. 3 minutes really should be enough. I'm going to do it. And Balcazar is not going to make any tweaks. We're just going to go, yeah, that's close enough. We're just going to go right back out. Qualifying. Same tires. Boom. And our times, at least right now, looking pretty competitive. 3rd and 5th. Now, I don't think, again, it's really unlikely I'm going to get to the qualifying race trim here, but I'm at least going to try. Minute and a half left. And we're going to make it on the race trim. I think we're going to be short on the inters and the qualifying, though. I don't think we're going to hit either one of those. So, and if so, this is going to end up even worse than the last time. Yep, there's our race trim with just under a minute to go. I don't think I could have cut either one of them in a lap earlier. I think that would have not been enough. Gabler loving the gear ratios, pretty much loving everything about the car, it seems right now. Yep, and we're definitely going to be short. So it is what it is. The race trim is the most important one to get. And the thing about being set up well on inters is it's supposed to rain on race day, so that should be good for us. Not quite getting all the way. So this, again, worked out just not being a great practice session for us. But with the medium-length practice sessions, there is only so much that you can do. Okay. Of course, there's always a limited amount you can take away from the practice sessions, but we see that Lori really looking strong, and everybody, and we're 3rd and 5th, so very competitive. Supporting Vitiro Corsa is worse than watching 4 rom-coms simultaneously. That's one of my favorite comments that they make. And people loving Holgersson performance. And on to qualifying we go. AKA practice fine-tuning, of course. Intermediates. And, yeah, in the sweetest spots here. And inters for Stone. See how we like our setup. Well, 99% for Gabler. That is brilliant. So Gabler is just going to head out there with her partly used softs and try to set a time and be done with it. Stone's got a little more work to do. Okay, so went from okay to great to great, so maybe a little bit in between those. That's on the cornering. The handling, poor to very poor to great. I might want to try tweaking that down a little bit, see if that helps. And then we went from okay to poor. I think I want more acceleration. Okay. Getting more acceleration, easier said than done. Well, let's see. This is okay, and that I don't. No, there's no way. It's got to be more acceleration. Oh, I went the wrong way on the speed, though. Okay, that'll help. So I want to be about there. I'm going to try that. It looks like it's going to be a little bit hard to get all of them balanced out quite where I want them, but let's give that a try. Might as well do one lap on the current tires and then give him a second one probably on the next tires. Okay, so let's give that a shot. And I just want to send Gabler out there first on the empty track. Gabler not looking very good, but Stone is looking excellent. 8.3, 8.4. Wow. So maybe he can just do one and call it a day. Of course, that's going to depend on how well the car responds. 8.6, look at that. Unfortunately, he's in a pack of them right now, 8.7. So hopefully, but really, I'm more concerned about his setup anyway. So I'm not even going to sweat that too much. Good and great, not bad. Perfect, and up to a 9.2 as he heads into the final turn for his lap. Fortunately, he's battling with another car, was battling with another car. But he still manages to set the fastest time for that section on slightly used tires. I'll take it. And Gabler's time, a little over a second off the track record. Which isn't bad because the grip isn't too super yet. Stone looking to have a brilliant first lap here. Although now he's dropping back. Now he's not driving as well as he was before. And yeah, really dropped off those last two sections. But still, first and third So I'll just have to see how the car is looking. Now second and fourth as Hashimoto goes lower. Quite a bit lower too. And Gabler, yeah, of course, everything still looks good there. Gabler's just going to sit here. There's just no reason at all to go back out for her. Excellent, excellent, and great. 98%. Okay, so we had okay speed, poor speed, great speed, and great speed. It would be nice to find something in between there. I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to do that. 98%, you know, I'm just going to call it good. I mean, I just don't think it's worth futzing about with it and possibly making it worse to get 1% more, which I might not even be able to do. So, yeah. Just going to stick with it for him. And he's going to sit here too. I don't think I need anything else from this. We're both going to be in the top 15. That's all I want. Okay, so through to qualifying 2, Will Baggs, the surprising setter of the pace with a late run for Wolfhagen. We're in 4th and 6th, plenty safe. Accomplished everything we wanted from that session. And we can see the drivers here who didn't make it. None of them from the top 3 teams, which is all that we particularly care about. Everybody in the top 3 teams finished well, except for Dutt for Araj, and then Rodriguez for Araj barely made it. Dutt was fine in 8th, but Rodriguez could be pushed out if that performance continues. So I'm happy with where both of the cars are set up. And time to move on to the second one. Okay, now one thing that I forgot about here, and that is that when you set your bonuses, it's for the whole session. If I had to do it over again, I would probably put Gabler on the soft, the light-footed soft tires, because she's qualifying in soft tires. Going to have to use whatever one she qualifies with in the race. And so it would be better to have a little bit less wear on them, but that's totally not a major issue. Just be a minor point of order really there. So I'm sending her out first and hoping that she does well enough on this first run to just make it into the top 10 and not have to go out again. But if she's got to go out again, so be it. And then I'm going to send out Stone. Probably going to end up, I plan on sending a Stone out twice. Be surprised if that doesn't happen. He's still looking strong with an 8.6. Gabler 4.2, a little subpar. And now our track grip is up to high, so the track conditions improving. Double greats for Gabler, which is as good as I can do. So up to 4.5, 4.6, and look at Stone's 9.0, 9.1. So he's looking like he's ready to unleash a corker if I can nail this, which I should be able to. Yep, perfect. 9.2 and perfect. I mean, that's about as good as it gets. So good setup here at the beginning. Lori actually got out first, it looks like, and set a slightly better time. Oh, nope, Lori is behind us. And once again, Lori beating our time, but then Bags beating Lori's time for the first. So, you know, the grip on the track really increasing here, though. Happy with a 1:37.373, which is faster than she managed in the first round. And Stone, a couple tenths back of that. And just in terms of the risk reward, in terms of going out for a second lap here, as we sit in second and third, it appears. If we use another one, use 2 more in the final qualifying, then, you know, that leaves us with only 1 totally fresh tire for the race, and I already know right now I'm going to be looking at a 2-stop strategy for both drivers, most likely. So, you know, that means they'll have to have they'll have an issue there. So I really would like. The question is whether it's better to take the risk of not being top 10 versus you know, burning a bit of another set of tires. And a lot of that just depends on the times. You know, the thing is, drivers like Rodriguez would have to improve their time by almost 0.4 seconds to pass Stone. And, you know, we could get passed by all of these and not make it. So I think that Stone's first run was good enough that I can leave him there. I definitely feel I can leave Gabler there. So once again, I'm just going to go with the 1 run. We're going to have a maxed out track for the final round of qualifying. Pure speed there. And I just don't see the need to go after it anymore. Of course, the thing is, you can't wait for everybody else to go out and then decide, because by the time you find out what most of these times are, it's over. So, but I'm going to stick with it. Stick with it right where it is. If Stone was much lower, if he was in the 0.4 range, I'd probably need to send him out again. So almost everybody has gone out. Holgerson has not, which is interesting. Going to have to go out soon if she wants to. Looks like Holgerson standing pat in 10th. I don't think I've ever seen that before. But she doesn't have time now. So we're going to be getting time to the rest of them. And that's even going to help us, because obviously Holgerson can't pass Stone if she doesn't go in for another lap. But that's the strangest thing I've ever seen. You're on the bubble and you don't even try to turn in another time. So Sevilla looking very strong in that first segment. Kaluza's going to improve. But a lot of these other ones not even improving on their times from the first attempt. So we're looking very safe here. Sophie Sevilla looking to carry the banner for Spartan, that's for sure. See the end of her lap here. And she does finish above everybody. So now third and fourth. .13 ahead of the field, but only temporarily as Hashimoto gets back on top. Lori improves. Now we're up to fourth and fifth. But that's it. So yeah. Fourth and fifth here, and we did not go out on the very best grip. Plus, they had 2 cracks at it. So I'm feeling strong about our chances. As we take a look at Hashimoto. Feeling strong about our chances of competing for the pole. And definitely getting that sponsor objective. 500K, that is absolutely crucial. Rodriguez from Mirage does indeed miss the cut. So that means one of our primary competitors is going to be starting a little back in the field, and we're loving that. Okay, then this gives us plenty of tires to go hard after the best qualifying position without compromising what we're going to do in the race. And that's the optimal situation to be in. You can see the track is down a little bit here. There is some room to maneuver, time-wise. And now that we're here, I think that Gabler is more important because Gabler is the most likely to get pole, most likely to get the sponsor bonus for us. So we're gonna wait a little bit over a minute. Then I'm gonna send Stone out first. Now the track's going up. Now I think that we're going to be good. Just hold on. And now, by the time Gabler starts her qualifying lap, she should have maximum grip, so she'll be able to get that for both runs. That's the basic goal here, is Stone's form once again ticking up into the stratosphere, which is awesome. Alright, let's go ahead and get out there now. Yep, grip pretty much maxed out even as she starts her out lap. So I won't have any reason to wait with the conditions this good. Just as soon as the drivers come in, as long as there's not a bunch of traffic, just go right back out. And hopefully knock out some excellent... Oh my goodness, I ran it too high as good. Doggone it. Screwed up the tire temperatures as I was blathering on. I noticed just a little bit too late what was going on, and I couldn't quite recover from it. Double greats on Gabler, though. Stone still ran a faster first segment than Lori, Sevilla, Holgerson, Baggs, Blasi. Very nice. There's Lori with 137.4. Not a great time. Stone not looking as great on the second segment, though. Gabler getting the fastest first segment. That's very nice. And third, just over 1/10 of a second back. So that's not quite as good as he did in the first qualifying run, but it's pretty darn good. There's Gabler looking very strong with the fastest time in each of the first 2 sectors. It's close, though. Everybody else has finished their first lap. Here comes Gabler around. And yeah, fourth 4th and 6th, but look at that margin. 4 drivers within .024. Tanaka in 5th, .06 behind. And you've got to go all the way down to 8th before you even get 0.2 of a second out. So this is just hugely competitive right now. Nobody really ran a really great lap there. Lots of good ones. So let's just get Stone right back out there with another try. We've got peak conditions. We've got clear weather. There's absolutely nothing to wait for. And hopefully I can nail in the tire temps this time properly. We are going to need to improve, though, if ever so slightly. See, we're starting to get some of the other drivers going out. I'm going to wait just a bit here with Gabler. There goes. It's most of them out. The only ones left are Tanaka and Baggs. Let's see here. I think this is a good time. We'll see. Yeah, looks like I'm going to have a pretty clear run. Okay, good. Loving that. And tire temps nailed on Stone. But of course, Gabler, the bigger hope. Double greats. All right. So not as fast in the first sector, but looking good in the second one compared to his first lap. And comes around the last turn here. Let's see what he's got. And doesn't look like he improved it. Nope. 0.025 shorter, so a consistent pair of laps for Stone. Looks like he's going to fall back into row 4 again, I believe. Gabler not as fast as her first round on either of her first 2 segments. Well, that's a little ugly. Hashimoto going lowest. And I think I'm going to blow the sponsor bonus here. Unbelievable. Yeah, you shouldn't be thrilled about spot 6. Ugh. We had everything set up right. I just didn't get the one really good lap that I needed. And so the sponsor bonus can wave goodbye to it. That's 500,000, $500,000 that we really needed. We really better finish in the top 3 in the race now. So we've got Hashimoto on the pole for Atsuno. At least one of the top drivers didn't get that pole position bonus. Yeah, I gotta agree. We weren't quite at it today. Hammer AMR suck. No chance of catching Hashimoto. I wouldn't go that far. Okay, so the race, and it's raining to start. How lovely. But that rain is a little bit of a, you know, sort of false thing here. It's only going to be significantly wet for 2 to 3 laps, as we can see. Then it's going to dry out, and then you can see around the middle of the race, it's going to start heating up. So, not a whole lot to be concerned with there. We actually don't need the inters. We're going to go with race trim and light-footed on the soft tires. And race trim and engine expert, of course. And now, of course, the all-important decision on the fuel. Now, I have decided we're going with a 2-stop strategy. And of course, the first stint, you've got a little bit, you start with 40% charge in the battery. So I can go a little bit lower on the fuel. Then I'm going to want to go later for that. Even though we're going to burn fuel out for the first couple laps, I can still do that. We got 43 laps to hit. So I think, I'm going to just go down to half. 9 laps. Stick with that. And I want to start dialing in the exact amount of fuel that I get, how much charge on the battery, like how much charge in the battery is used each lap, and how much I get each lap by charging it. I want to start really refining my strategy as we move through the season. I've got a general sense of it, but a general sense probably not going to win races. So I'll take him at 14. He always needs to carry more. And then, although 14, I don't know if that's going to get him there. You know what? I'm going to second guess myself and go back up to 15. There we go. Okay, yeah, so we've got Hashimoto and Sevilla in front. Blasi and Baggs very close together time-wise. They're in the second, and neither one of them are big rivals. Laurie and Gabler also in about that same speed range in the third row. Then it starts spreading out a little bit. Tanaka and Stone, Holgerson and Dutt. So Orange not looking great starting in the 5th and 6th row. But Spartan looking the best in the qualifying. So we would be even with them if things ended as they start. Good starts for both drivers, especially Gabler. Look at her rocketing up to 3rd position there for a moment. Stone starting to fall back, and again, I think that a lot of this is fuel load. I think that Gabler is doing less fuel than most, and Stone more fuel than most. It's my sense of having watched a fair amount of these starts now. Gabler up to 2nd, fighting off Sevilla, maybe. Looks like we're going to get the spot. Stone up to 7th, making it past Tanaka. Of course, the tires aren't going to be great here in the slightly wet weather, but that's true for everybody. And Gabler setting the fastest lap of the race so far. That time will not hold up, but it might for a little while in the rain. I'm going to move down to neutral on Stone's tires now, but I'm going to leave it here for Gabler. I want to try to see if I can get ahead of Hashimoto, because I'm really threatening for that. And Gabler into the lead, and then not into the lead. This is my last turn of it, either way. Yep, okay. We're going back down to medium. Because we're playing the fuel game, so we can't push forever. Still fighting for the spot, though. Had it there for a second, then fell back. Quite an interesting battle up here for the lead, while Stone flounders about back there, and now we are in first. Be interesting to see if we can hold that. But if Gabler wins, look at that change in the team standings. Boy, would that be a nice thing. And now I've got Sevilla and Hashimoto hot on the tail, but Sevilla, the one looking to make the push. Oh boy, and that was a nice move by Sevilla, getting to the inside of that final turn. Gotta hand it to her. Side by side, Sevilla just barely looking like, yep. There we go. Oh, little slingshot there around that turn, though. Got Gabler back in the fight. We look at the driver form at the moment. And Sevilla's at 7.4, Gabler 5.3. So Sevilla driving much better and on medium tires. Medium tires and still able to pump up to first. So that's pretty impressive. And just that one spot difference would close things up quite a bit. We'd actually lose a point. We're up 6 now, and we would be up 5. Stone in the middle of the pack. Let's go ahead and bump up to high. But after about 4 laps of racing, we've gained 20%. So we're gaining about 5% of charge per lap. So that's worth noting here. I don't know if that's constant from race to race. It might vary a little bit based on length. We're gaining 5% charge in the battery per lap, roughly. Gabler staying right there close with Sevilla, and Hashimoto looks like about a second behind, and there's Gabler making the pass. So, Sevilla is having to go up and down with her aggressiveness. So I'm really liking what I'm seeing here out of Gabler. I can't be quite as positive about what's going on back there with Stone. The other part of it is we've got the light-footed soft tires deal going. So even though Sevilla is on medium tires, her tires are still worn down more than my softs, which is fantastic. See a clear top 3 here, though. 3 seconds back from Hashimoto to Tanaka. Lori back in 9th. So has fallen back quite a bit at the start. And this top 3 is only accelerating away. There it is. 6 laps, 30% saved. So that's holding pretty steady. 5% a lap. I think maybe we're starting to pull away a little bit from Sevilla and Hashimoto. Gabler's form is rising up to over 6, so she's driving pretty well. But Sevilla is really looking great at 8.3. Hashimoto not driving as well. Stone in 10th, right in the middle of the pack. I would like to see him up a little bit higher. And just that battle, 9th bags 10 Stone and then Hume there. Oh, time to go, Hybrid. Not quite time yet on Stone. He's got more fuel. I always find that question humorous. No, of course you can't make it at the end of the race with that much fuel. That's not the goal. We'd like to get to lap 14 or 15. Okay, so we're at 70% on the battery entering lap 9. Let's see how low that gets. I know the fuel usage is only a fraction of a lap. And of course, a lot of this depends on what your engine mode is, but we're sticking with medium. Yeah, Sevilla staying close, but Hashimoto now falling back. Looking like the usage might be double. From 70% down to 60%. 59. Okay, just over double maybe. 11% that we're using per lap. So that would mean 5 more laps, which would be just about perfect. Let's go hybrid now with Stone, who is up in 7th, making some passes, starting to move up through the field. I know the fuel usage is higher, and I'm just going to ride along with Stone, because I know the fuel usage is higher, but I don't know about the energy usage on the overtake mode. So let's just see where that's at. Look at him racing like a maniac at 8.7. So we saw that it was 11% for Gabler. So let's see what it is for Stone, starting this at 78% on lap 11. We'll follow this lap all the way around and then head back to our leader. But he is up to 6th. Although Holgersen not letting him free, that's for sure. But it looks like he's got at least some kind of a chance at finishing in the points. Okay, so the fuel usage definitely higher. But it's looking like the battery usage is the same. Yeah, 11% again. Battery usage is the same. So that's interesting. And I'm going to switch him down to high to try to get a little bit more out of this. He's at 1.6. I'll need to watch that fuel. Under a lap of fuel now for Gabler. Let's push the tires, get whatever we can out of this. Build that lead. You see, it's about to be totally dry and no sign of that changing. Every second we can build that lead is an important one. So I think I wanted to go hybrid earlier on Stone's car to preserve that that higher engine mode. Gabriel will go around for one more lap. Try to get 2 more out of Stone. I think I want him to pit second. Stone with a new fastest lap. And it's time to come in. Well, the race has been pretty much perfect for Gabler. Let's get a new... So we want a new fresh set, or we want to save the fresh set for the end? I may very well end up having to go through traffic. Let's do fresh. So we did just fine for this time around. We're going to want a little bit more fuel. So I had 9. Let's go with 10.6. Park condition, no problem. And I could go with the recharge battery. It's not worth the risk. One, it adds time to the pit stop. Yeah, and 2, just the surging it. I just don't see that being worth the risk, because if you disable the battery for the rest of the race, you're at a big disadvantage against the other cars. I think that's a desperate situation move. I'm not even sure it's worth it then. So let's take a look back at Stone now. Should have enough fuel to finish this lap and the next one, which is what I want from him. Still, there's Lori going by. Still sitting right in that 6th to 7th range. Think I can probably go back up to overtake, though. Again, I'm going to need to watch that really closely. And he's not gonna use all of that battery. But his battery is going to be a little bit lower than it was before. I think I want fuel about the same. Go back up to 15. You can see Gabler down to 16th. And the first car to pit, even though we're a full third of the way through the race. So that's interesting. Other cars are going to pit soon, but I'm going to want to use the ability to push here strategically. The water is still not completely gone. It's almost gone. And this is going to be the coolest part. It's going to start warming up soon. Then I won't be able to push the tires as much. See, there's, yeah, doing totally fine on fuel. Making it all the way around is Stone. Going into the pits. So we had the first and second cars to go in, which is generally not where I want to be. Gabler now coming up on traffic. Let's try to use the tires to get by. Wood here on medium tires is I don't want to be stuck behind here. Of course, I'm not carrying enough fuel to be aggressive with the engine mode. That's one of those aspects about this. Gabler moving alongside. Unable to pull away, though. Even though she's driving well. Get that inside corner. Just barely getting inside. Pull away, for goodness sakes. Having trouble pulling away. But does move up to 12th. And we've got... Okay, we can switch back to neutral now. I've got some clear sailing ahead. 12th and 18th as we get some more cars in. And look at the track, still not completely going with the water. It's so close. Down to 16 degrees, the coolest it's going to be. Here's more cars coming into the pits. And 10th now, and lap 18. Stone moving up to 16th. Starting to get some quite bad tires for the cars ahead. Of course, some of them that are on mediums could be able to, although Hashimoto didn't, Tanaka didn't, Edwards didn't. I don't know if they had mediums before, but some of the cars with mediums could be trying to go with a one-stop strategy. That could make things really interesting. So now we can read this energy bar a little better. For example, we can see that Gabler is now up to almost 3 laps of hybrid mode. Stone up to about 4. And then I can use that to gauge the fuel, particularly as I get more used to... The next thing I want to figure out is when you're in overtake, how much fuel you're going to use a lap. So Wood needing some repairs. Blasi going in. Holgersson going in. And Gabler now up to 8th. Stone up to 13th. As we make our way back up through the field after everybody makes their changes. And generally, like with Wood, if you're repairing less than halfway through the race, something's wrong. Something is very, very wrong. And now the temperature is starting to spike. As Gabler makes the way up on the back. Okay, Sevilla now coming in just before the halfway point and going to soft tires. So Sevilla's going to have to go in twice. Gabler up to 7th. And now 11th for Stone. Okay, I'm going to go push for as long as I can get away with it or until I get past these two cars. I want to get past Stefansson and Baggs. And they're going to come into the... All these cars are going to have to pit soon. But I don't want to have to wait for that if I can avoid it. And Gabler up to 6th now as Stefansson just having trouble. Come on, get that inside corner. Get it, get it, get it, get it. Ugh. Up to 3rd and 4th now, and Gabler into 3rd, which would be good enough for the objective. but we don't want to be third. We want to win this race. The way it's gone so far, we want to win it. And third, and okay, now let's back off to neutral. And we may have to back off more because, yeah, it's getting warmer out. So those tires lasted just long enough to comfortably make that move. One of the things that flashed up in the tips once that I wasn't totally aware of, although it makes sense, if your car is in the high, the red zone for heat, if you push it or attack, you don't get any benefit from it. All it does is wear the tires down faster. So there's rarely a good reason to let it go up there. Okay, so Bags behind us going to have to go into the pit soon. Not too much longer after that, we're going to have to see Rodriguez and Laurie go in, so we're going to take the lead. The question is, do Rodriguez and Laurie come out on, what tires do they come out? If they come out on mediums and they're trying to go with a one-stop strategy, that could still be dangerous. And yeah, this is still pushing up a bit. So I want to conserve, and there's no better time to do that than right now. Yeah, Bags coming in for the pit now. So we've got to switch between now neutral and conserve on the tires. And Laurie has to make repairs halfway through the race. That's beautiful. Gabler now taking the lead again just past the halfway point in lap 24. Let's see how much Stone gets out of this. Stone up to 5th. Okay, now we're going to have to start thinking about hybrid mode soon. But look at that lead if we were to maintain 1st and 5th position. That wouldn't put the championship on lockdown, but it would put us in a dominant position a third of the way through the season. It would be really tough. I would have to do something really dumb for us to blow it at that point. Gary Edwards, who was in 19th, crashing. Only a partial yellow, only a one-sector yellow, and that's really not going to affect us in any meaningful way. 10-second lead, though, almost 11 over Sevilla. That's very nice. Okay, 1.5. Going to get about 5 laps of this. So actually, we don't need that yet. Because I can get 5 laps out of like just over 1. But let's go hybrid now on Stone, because that's about 3.5 lap point. And I'm going to get this, now that I understand how much they're worth, I'm going to get this up closer. Yeah, 1.1 there. Now let's go hybrid. And that just gets that fuel a little bit lower, keeps me a little bit faster. Gonna have to go conserve now with Stone. And I'm just going to ride along with Stone here, and I'm going to check out. Well, I'm going to do that at the beginning of the next lap. I'm gonna ride one more lap here with Gabler, actually. I want to see what the fuel consumption is. I want to really get a hard number on that for Gabler and then for Stone. This seems to be a good point in the race to do that. She was just about at 1.1 coming into this lap. Okay, so about a quarter of a lap of fuel if I'm in hybrid for her. And that would work out perfectly. 4 more laps. Gonna have maybe not quite enough fuel to last those 4. So I might cut it off at 3 There. Let's see where she is this time. And that's gone down low enough. We can go ahead and bump it back up to neutral for now. Yeah, I didn't seem to use nearly... I must have miscalculated. Didn't use nearly as much this time. 0.12 laps of fuel. Okay, let's see Stone. You can go neutral now as well. 2.01 laps of fuel heading in. And I think these numbers will vary some with the driver ability, but it does give a really nice general idea. Stone should again be able to pit the lap after Gabler with where their percentages are. Yeah, up over 11 seconds now, the gap to Sevilla, another 11 seconds back to Dutt. And you can see that Lori went in for softs. I forget who the other front runner was. It doesn't look like anybody is going to be able to even challenge Gabler. I think she's running away with this. Running away with this race. Okay, so from 2.01 to 1.46, and we need to get in 3 more laps. Not going to have quite enough fuel to do that, so I'm going to have to bump that down to high for one of those laps. But so what? Maybe even half of one of those laps might be enough. And we're going to go back to conserve. And Gabler might be able to bump it up to high for part of a lap. And, you know, again, little things like that, do they make a huge difference? No, but they do help. This is going to be Gabler's last lap. Okay, so this is going to be 30 laps down, 13 laps to go. Looks like those are the best tires we have. And I think we had more than enough that time. I think we can squeeze it out going with 9.5 on this one. Now we need to be prepared to lower down to a lower engine mode at the end of the race if that isn't working. But that's only a 13-second pit stop. That's a pretty quick one. Okay, 2 more laps now for Stone. And it looks like he's going to run out of energy power right about at the line. I want to keep him on this. I want to keep him at the same mode for at least the rest of this lap. And then see where he's at. Driving well. In 5th, he has not finished better than 7th. I believe it was 9th, 7th, and then 13th. So if I get him a 5th place finish, he should feel pretty good. Here's Gabler. See if we can get that 13-second pit time. Less than that, 12.3. Come out in neutral. And here's Stone. Yep. Going to... You know what, I'm going to run half of this lap at overtake, and then I'm going to... As soon as I get around this turn right there, then I'm going to switch it down. There we go. And I don't want to, you don't want to risk running out. You don't want to cut it too close. That should be enough to get home. And so right ahead of him, of course, is Gabler, who is laboring under a much bigger fuel load. What the heck? I never told Stone to pit. I never told Stone to pit. I'm not redoing this again with how well Gabler is doing, but this is freaking unbelievable that I did that again. Stone is going to lose all kinds of time. I'm just going to run him on standard. I don't even think it even matters whether he's in hybrid or not. Yeah, he's going to lose all kinds of time. He's being passed like he's standing still. Oh, the stupidity. I thought about having him pit. I was talking about having him pit. And everything but push the stinking button and make it happen. Stone finally into the pits, goes in at like 15th or 16th or whatever. He's going to finish like last. He's going to be pissed off at me. He's going to be right to be pissed off at me. Okay, jack up to the max. And it would be nice to have Gabler make this pass on Dutt. Gets to the inside. Gets side by side, but I think the next turn's going the other way. It is. Still should be able to hold it, though. There we go. Up to third. We're going to be either catch Hashimoto or Hashimoto is going to pit. And then Sevilla, I don't see those tires lasting, so... We've got Stone now, 18th out of 19 drivers still active. Well, Ray Roberts crashes. And we have a virtual safety car now. Nope. I don't want you to do that. But you can both go down and conserve the crap out of everything. So, this... I'm not sure if this is going to help us or not. Gabler will have to fight for the lead again. But it's not going to change the tire situation here. Gabler should be able to hold first position, and then Stone should close up the gap here. Although we're done. Oh, we're done with the virtual safety car already. Good grief. I'm not used to this. I'm used to like going around 2-3 laps. Alright. It's not going to close up anything as much as I thought it would. And I lost several seconds for both drivers there. Because I was just putzing around. So now Hashimoto, instead of being like 3 seconds ahead, is like 6 seconds ahead. Another mistake. I mean, this is my second try at this race. And I don't know if Stone is going to be able to even hardly pick up any positions here. He's going to finish near the back. Just what a mess. But yeah, Hashimoto's tires aren't going to last. There's no way chassis stays out there. Won the pole and everything, but you aren't beating Gabler. And no, Sevilla's tires aren't going to last either. So I've just got to wait for them to come in. Should be fine there. Race should virtually win itself. Oh, but Stone, look at that, up to 10.0. He could easily have been 5th or 4th in this race. Could have been 5th or 4th if his stupid boss, Chip Winters, had his thinking cap screwed on. Ugh. I still can't believe I did that. I had everything lined up strategically. It was going well. I was timing out the laps, all of that, and then poof, screwed it up. So we've now gained over a second of time, well, about a second of time. Back, yeah, there's Hashimoto into the pits. Goodbye, Hashimoto. Second position now. And Sevilla might get another lap or two in. But if so, that's going to be all. Stone, you might as well conserve because there's nobody close to you. Let's get that tire temp down so you can go after it if you catch anybody, like Wood, for example. And right now, we would lose to lose positions to Spartan, but that's about to change because Sevilla's going into the pits. Dutt's going to have to go into the pits. Gabler in first. Let's see where Sevilla comes out before I start looking at that again. Okay. So now, yeah, that would expand our lead to 10. Even with all the stupid screw-ups with Stone. And when Dutt pits, this is really going to be over. Although Sevilla will gain another spot. So about 4 laps left. I want to go and run this down to 1 lap. And Capello has pitted to go behind. Interesting. You're starting to have, yeah. Okay, so I definitely don't want to knock down the reliability anymore. I think I've knocked it down as far as I want to with Gabler. Sevilla and Lori now second and third, but we're still going to gain 2 points on them. So I'll take that. We're about to get down to 3 laps to go, so I can still carry this down further. Not a lot further, but you know what? I'm just going to go, just so there's no risk at all, I'm just going to go with it now. So Gabler literally should run this out herself. It's right along with Stone. 16th, 6 seconds back and charging. Three laps to go, lots of fuel. So I'm going to burn most of this up with a speed boost. There we go. And that gained, you know, maybe half a second. It helped. But I don't see us passing anybody else unless they pit. Nobody else looks like they're going to pit. Maybe Lori up in third, which would be nice. But there's Dutt getting the fastest lap, which is just fine. And the interesting thing about that is, what if Stone were to get the fastest lap from that performance? Nope. Go ahead and going to conserve. 2 laps to go. Well ahead of Sevilla and Lori. I'm sure they'll finish where they are at this point. Go ahead and push for the last couple laps. The gap is closing, but it's not closing fast enough. I mean, I cost Stone at least half of a minute, if not longer. Yep, you've got enough. Go ahead and burn the rest of it. Down to less than 4 seconds. All right, let's see the finish with Gabler. All things considered, a pretty easy win. I am a driving genius. Well, you're really good. I don't know if I'd go quite that far, but you're really good. And now this lead cutting down more and more, under 3 seconds. But it's not going to be close enough. You can see Wood ahead, all these drivers just burning their energy. And Stone in 16th. Yes, we do. Oh, this was your chance for a finish in the points. And your principal totally ruined it. But Gabler gets the win. And that's enough for us in the team consideration. Let's see. Fastest lap bonus goes to Dutt for Mirage. Okay. And Atsuno gets the pole position. Drive-through penalty for Kaluza, causing one of the collisions. And look at Stone. Now just imagine if he'd finished 30 seconds faster, which should have been the minimum. He would have finished 7th. He would have been at least 7th, you know, and possibly competing for 4th, 5th, 6th. Ugh. And two place demotion for Holgerson for violating the rules with one of her parts. First one of those we've seen in this particular challenge, but not enough to help Stone at all. Gabler with the win by an exact 9 seconds over Sevilla. Lori a ways back in 3rd. Gabler now the runaway leader of the points. Okay, so overall, we were up 6 points, now we're up 7. We're continuing to hold on to a solid lead over Spartan Entourage, fighting for 2nd. Just happy overall. No, I will not pass on your marriage proposal. Nice try. Can we go on to dominate the International GT Championship? I believe we can, and I do want to. Being carried by Hammer AM, I don't care. We're a team. That's what the word team means. Doesn't matter whether it's because of the driver or the car or whoever it's because of. Winning is winning. Oh, we've got a new trait. Morale did not take much of a hit, but the mechanic relationship did. And now Stone has probably lost one of the key abilities. Outstanding. Chairman happiness is up. Let's see what we have here. Home race winner. So, a big morale boost there for Gabler. Cool. And we did still lose some money, just not as much as we would have otherwise. So that's going to do it for Munich. Really wish I hadn't have made that screw up, but I think we're going to survive it. Finances more and more looming large. There's no question about that. There's going to be some tough decisions around that. But we'll be working on the gearbox, getting some of those rounded into shape next. That should improve our performance even more. We are very much literally in the driver's seat, but 2 teams within 10 points, far from over. So we'll continue the Daddy's Boy Challenge next time. Until then,